Breath of the Wild was a huge risk for the Zelda franchise. To take a series that thrived in crafting linear adventures and to transform it into an open world quest where the player dictates the structure of the game would have been a daunting task for the developers. But they did it. And they did it so well that it became the best-selling game in the series with over 30 million copies sold globally. It even won Game of the Year and was lauded as one of the greatest open-world games ever. So the question that I, and many others have asked before, is what makes this game so great? Well, I would argue that it is the sound design. If you, as a developer, are going to ask a player to spend the majority of their gameplay time exploring a vast open world, that world needs to be visually appealing to look at. Absolutely. But video games, just like films, are not a strictly visual medium. The sound design of your enormous open world needs to be just as good if you want to draw a player's attention and keep it. And if you ask me, I think they did. So let's take a look at an example. Alright, there's a lot to break down in this one clip, but let's give it a shot. So, first we hear a gentle piano tune. Then Link begins walking, and we can hear the texture of his boots stepping on the grass, compressing the dense foliage under his feet. As he walks, we hear the rustle of his equipment, the shield, bow, and sword clanking as wood connects rhythmically with metal. In the surrounding forest that Link is walking through, we can hear the gentle humming of insects and calls of small birds, only to be followed by a bird flying away off-screen to the left, perhaps scared by Link himself. He then walks up a small dirt mound which is not covered in grass, but there's still a warm, earthy thud of his feet landing on the ground. Link begins walking through long grass again, pushing it to the side, before finally walking on some rock, a loud echo resounding as the sole of his boot connects with the stone. Okay, now I'm going to play the clip again, but this time keep in mind the list of sounds we created when watching. Impressive, right? Nintendo's sound team has a real understanding of how to mold together a handful of sounds into a wonderful soundscape for a player to experience. So now that we have an idea of how the fantastic sound design in Breath of the Wild is constructed, let's move our attention to the highly anticipated sequel to the game and ask ourselves the question: did Tears of the Kingdom improve on the sound design of Breath of the Wild? Let's take a look. The differences here should be immediately apparent. Tears of the Kingdom is far better at placing sound within the space, giving more depth and realism to the whole experience as a player is able to get a better grasp of where each individual sound is coming from. Let's watch the clip again, with each of the sounds highlighted like before, and this time really listen to see if you can place the sounds within the space. Overall, I think the Zelda team really improved at placing the sounds, creating an atmosphere, environment, and making the space feel real for the player. I found a few other examples of improvements in the sound design, like the quality of the wind blowing in recordings has improved, and the reverb in large echoey spaces is also drastically improved. Here's a few other side-by-side comparisons. But by comparing these two games, my point was not to discredit the amazing work that Breath of the Wild did for sound design in open world games, not at all. Instead, it was to celebrate both of these fantastic games and to highlight the impressive steps that Nintendo are making with each iteration of this beloved franchise. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. As a little thank you, here is a funny clip from my first playthrough of Tears of the Kingdom. Enjoy.